Today on Redefining Impossible, the podcast, we plunge into the heart of a story where sheer will clashes with the constraints of the human body. In a narrative that echoes the grit and determination of the most gripping sagas, we meet Giovanny Pernudi, a man who's turned the tides of his fate on a bicycle. A self-described rebel hemophiliac, Giovanny's journey isn't about defying the odds for glory. It's about a relentless pursuit of passion, a life lived pedaling against the challenges of severe hemophilia. In a world where limitations are often set by circumstances, Giovanny rides a different path, one that intertwines the risks of his condition with the freedom of the open road. Stay tuned as we unravel the tale of this extraordinary cyclist, whose story redefines what it means to push the boundaries of the possible. Hemophilia severity is determined by factor activity levels, a measurement of how much factor you have in your blood at the time of diagnosis. The more factor you have in your body over time, the better your bleed protection is, which is why many people with hemophilia choose to treat prophylactically. Your doctor can perform measurements to evaluate the factor activity levels in your blood. Learn more about the importance of factor activity levels by talking to your doctor and visiting levelsmatter.com.
My name is Giovanny Pernudi, hemophiliac, hemophilia A severe.
Giovanny's story isn't about elite athleticism, but rather a steadfast commitment to maintaining fitness and a sense of normalcy, all while navigating the complexities of hemophilia.
Yeah, so growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, I kind of always looked at myself as the rebel hemophiliac because all the doctors at that point always said, no, can't play sports, can't do this and that. And I went to a small school, a small private Catholic school, and to kind of fit in, I was always willing to play sports.
His voice carries the echoes of a childhood spent defying norms, pushing against the cautious voices of medical experts.
I played flag football in grade school, basketball, cross country and track in high school, and soccer. So I was always active, for better or for worse, as they say, through all the injuries and through all the ups and downs that come along with it, the bleeds, the hospitalizations and stuff like that.
But Giovanny's journey wasn't without its tribulations. The rebellion of his youth came at a cost.
Later on in life is when I started suffering the effects of so many bleeds. I had a really bad ankle, and I got it fused.
In the wake of his ankle fusion, Giovanny faced a crossroads, the end of his athletic pursuits, or the beginning of a new chapter.
And I still wanted to be active, and so I asked one of my other hemo brothers, like, what can I do? And he put me on to cycling, and I just kind of took on it, bought a bike, and just started doing it, and just kind of got more and more into it and just went down the rabbit hole, as they say. And I still wanted to be active, and so I asked one of my other hemo brothers, like, what can I do? And he put me on to cycling, and I just kind of took on it, bought a bike, and just started doing it, and just kind of got more and more into it and just went down the rabbit hole, as they say.
Cycling offered Giovanny not just a physical outlet, but a path to reclaim his active lifestyle. His approach to his condition and his sport is methodical, careful, yet daring.
I have kept up to date on my prophylaxis, and I kept in tune with my body for the most part. I know what I can and can't do. I know my limitations at this point. And if I felt like I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't.
His words reflect a deep understanding of his own limits and strengths, a balance of ambition and caution.
So every year post ankle surgery, I gave myself a goal. You're going to ride X amount of miles, or you're going to ride in this race.
But it's not just about the personal challenges. For Giovanny, cycling is also about community, finding a shared passion in the face of shared adversity.
We had a great group of guys, some really good friends of mine within the hemophilia community. We rode the bike portion of the Long Beach Marathon for a couple years straight.
His journey is a blend of personal triumphs and collective experiences, a testament to the power of community.
I think it's all about setting expectations, reasonable expectations, and having a plan on how to accomplish it.
Giovanny's tale isn't just about overcoming hemophilia to cycle. It's about setting a vision, pushing beyond the can'ts and shouldn'ts, and riding into a future he crafts for himself, one pedal stroke at a time.
So I think it's just you have a plan in place, you have a conversation with your team, your support system, and then you go from there.
In Giovanny Pernudi, we find not just a cyclist, but a beacon of hope and a living example that limitations are often just starting lines or greater journeys. This has been Redefining Impossible, the podcast, where the impossible is just a word for the next challenge on the road. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Don't forget to watch the film Redefining Impossible for free at eliteathleteswithhemophilia.com. And thanks once again to Sanofi for sponsoring this segment. I'm Keith Corneluk, and I'll talk to you next month on Redefining Impossible, the podcast, only on Bloodstream.